Over the past year, I've ripped apart some of the most ridiculous self-defense garbage still being taught worldwide. All of it straight from the biggest, most respected martial arts systems. Every single technique is laughably stupid, and in real violence, they don't just fail, they get you seriously hurt or even killed. The only real difference between them is how fast they turn you into a victim. Today, I'm ranking the 5 absolute worst self-defense techniques I've covered in 2025. Stick around to the end because number 1 is the most popular, the most heavily marketed, the most blindly trusted, and by far the most unforgivably stupid of them all. Let's check it out. Before we start, let me be clear about how this works. Every single technique on this list is still being taught worldwide by ignorant instructors as legitimate, life-saving self-defense. And every single one is not just ineffective, it's delusional stupidity. These aren't harmless little mistakes. They're reckless fantasies sold by ignorant instructors and certified YouTube dimwits that will get you hurt, maimed, or carried out in a body bag when reality shows up. So I'm ranking them from merely idiotic all the way up to catastrophically, unforgivably, how is this still legal to teach, stupid. Brace yourself. The clown show begins with number 5. Coming in at number 5, a self-defense niche taught globally as practical and realistic, sold hard to the over 50 crowd as their secret weapon, and built entirely on the flimsiest tower of make-believe bullshit. Stupid cane fighting techniques. Here is the ever so popular groin attack. Back up a little bit, Tommy. We're in kicking range, hands up, canes down. They go down the shaft, bring it up. That is a typical groin attack using the cane. Now, if you think striking the groin is going to stop an enraged attacker, you're out of your freaking mind. The groin is the most overrated target in martial arts and self-defense. Many times when someone is enraged or has adrenaline running through them, they're not going to feel that groin shot. They're going to crash through the line, tackle you, get you to the ground, and pummel you to death. Are you now ready for Stupidity 101? Defending against a knife-wielding assailant using your little cane. Here is one example of a defensive technique. The adversary is facing me, I have the cane in my hand, I switch it to this particular quarterstaff grip, and I start doing this bullshit nonsense. Let me tell you something. If you I'm sorry, this is comical. If you think for 1 second that that technique is gonna stop a knife attacking maniac, you are living in a different planet, because I'm telling you right now, you are going to die. And now it's time for the devastating figure 8 technique that is going to vanquish my knife wielding attacker. Are you ready for some comedy? Because I'm gonna show it to you now. There's my threatening assailant. I take my cane and I start using my figure 8 because of course this is going to keep him back. There's no way he is going to crash through the line and stick that in my face. Tommy, you've been in law enforcement for over 28 years. What is your assessment of that technique based on what you've experienced in the real world?
Somebody who wants to hurt you is going to laugh at that cane, and they're going to crash that line, and they're going to stick that knife up under your rib cage. You're dead, period.
So what you're saying is this is not realistic?
Completely unrealistic. You're giving false hope to somebody who has a cane. You've just gotten them killed.
Coming in at number 4, we have something paraded around the world as elite level skill, treated like the pinnacle of martial sophistication and culture, and blindly trusted by idiots who think pretty flow drills equal surviving a real-world combat situation. Filipino stick disarms. Let me ask you a question. Why is it in every single YouTube video or other videos on social media platforms demonstrating stick fighting techniques at slow motion. How come they do not demonstrate them at full speed? And the answer is because they will never work. So Tommy, attack with that too? Of course, it's a controlled motion of attack. There's no speed involved. And of course, anybody can perform a successful disarm if someone gives you that type of feed. But in the streets, you don't have that. You've got blistering speed, you've got chaos, and you have adrenaline. And those elements are never featured in these demonstrations on YouTube or other social media platforms. Good, Tommy. So I have a question for you guys. Do you honestly think that you're going to be able to perform a stick disarm against that kind of speed, that kind of violence? This is a person who's not trained in the Filipino martial arts. This is your typical guy in the street, okay? So understand, this is what you're going to face. You're not going to face somebody who delivers an angle one strike and freezes it for you to perform one of your beautiful little stick disarms. Along with the issue of speed, there's another concern with these stick disarm techniques. It's the follow through. Now, normally in the Filipino martial arts, they teach you to use a secondary checking hand to help arrest the momentum of the strike. For example, if Tommy attacks with an angle 3 and I come in with a typical stick block and using the secondary checking hand, which supposedly is going to arrest that momentum, you're living in a fantasy world. You saw how fast those strikes are. That stick is not going to stop. It is going to follow through and destroy the rest of your body. So let me tell you something. You're living again in a fantasy world. It will not work. Now, some of you are going to argue that I need to get inside the arc of the swing when I apply that secondary checking hand and the block. Well, that's all well and good if you're facing somebody who has Filipino martial arts background and he's compliant and he's working with you. But that's not the real world, guys. In the real world, you're going to face a 220-pound dude who has no martial arts background, who's going to attack you with everything he's got. He's got forward energy. It's kinetic. It's violent. So when Tommy attacks me with that angle 3, he's going to continue and follow through. This is the reality of combat, guys. You need to take the whole Filipino martial arts and get rid of that paradigm. It's never going to work. Now, some of you may say that you're supposed to hit the hand before you apply the secondary checking hand and then perform the disarm. Well, let me tell you, you're living in a fantasy world. Tommy, attack me with an angle 2. I'm supposed to hit that hand, then check it, then apply the disarm. Let me tell you something. You have a better chance of spitting a BB through a lifesaver. Tommy, when you attack me with that angle 2, are you going to stop? What would you do?
I'm going to because I'm going to crash on top of you as I swing this stick and I'm going to overwhelm you.
That is reality. That's someone who doesn't study Filipino martial arts. That is someone who doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. This is the reality of real world violence. Coming in at number 3, something touted globally as revolutionary combat brilliance, revered as the pinnacle of martial arts sensitivity and speed, and pathetically trusted by Bruce Lee fanboys who've never faced real-world violence in their entire lives. Wingdom Kung Fu hand-trapping techniques, later repackaged and popularized through Jeet Kune Do. Now, this is by far the most ridiculous and absurd methodology for any form of self-defense. I'm going to show you how it's supposed to work. Tommy and I are squared off. I'm pretty much in the kicking range, but I'm going to step in with a punch. As I step in with a punch, Tommy's going to react with giving, of course, I have to tell him what to do because they're assuming the opponent's going to react the way they hope he does. Tommy didn't even react to it. So the hand comes up. Now I have an attachment. An attachment is any time the limbs are touching. This is the prerequisite to initiating trapping techniques or immobilization. So when I throw the hand up, Tommy, reach out here. Now I'm going to build on this. I'm going to slap his hand, what they call a paksao, and I'm going to step in with a vertical fist. Notice how Tommy doesn't even parry, because people on the street don't train like this. So you're not even going to get the reaction that you're hoping for. You're hoping for a prescribed response. So I'm going to coach Tommy through it and show you how it's supposed to work. Once again, I step in with a punch, I get this barrier, this attachment. I paksao and punch, Tommy parry it. That's what I want. Now I'm going to build off this. From here, I can punch through here, trap his limb, and then strike again. Or depending on the energy of his backhand, if he gives me a real strong parry, I'm going to roll and I'm going to back fist. So the idea here, Tommy here, the idea here is to trap his limb, immobilize his limb, and neutralize him with shots. It is never going to work in a street fight. It may work with another Wing Chun practitioner, which is a snowball's chance in hell you're going to fight one in the street, and even if you did, you'd kick his ass because they don't even know how to fight. The point is, these trapping techniques will never work. They're antiquated, they require a prescribed response, they require tactile sensitivity, which doesn't exist in a street fight. A street fight is a car wreck. The argument with trapping is that it's a brief moment in time that you're going to exploit. Let me tell you something again. Real combat involves adrenaline. It involves fear. It involves, in many cases, people who are completely enraged. I'm telling you something. You're not going to have this structure, Tommy. We are not going to have this attachment. It's not going to exist. And I'm going to use an example, a really bad example, because mixed martial arts really is not related to street combat. If trapping truly worked, you would see this all over UFC matches or MMA matches or octagon fights. It doesn't happen because it doesn't exist. These people are living in a fantasy world. And the true matter of it is they've never experienced real world combat, because if you did, you would know that this shit does not exist. Tommy, give me a reaction. That, one more time, give me a reaction. That is not going to happen in a real fight. In real world combat, it's brutal, it's unpredictable, it's chaotic. There is no structure like this that's ever going to survive a real combat encounter. Now, for those of you who study JKD and always say, this is just a training concept and it's a training methodology and trapping is really not an actual approach, you're lying. You actually have trapping as a range of combat, so that proves that that's a lie. Number 2, a defensive technique that countless gym bros swear is the ultimate no-nonsense solution, drilled religiously in every MMA and boxing gym on the planet, and worshipped on a pedestal by people who clearly believe that when street violence shows up, the bad guy is always unarmed and wearing 16-ounce boxing gloves. The triangle block. In the streets, you need defensive techniques that are efficient, effective, and safe. In contemporary fighting arts, we have the high block, we have the mid block. They're very simple and they're very effective. Now, when you're faced in a reality-based situation and you resort to defensive techniques like bobbing and weaving and ducking, and more importantly, this triangle block, you're going to end up in the morgue. And let me tell you why. If Tommy and I are squared off in a situation, I'm an MMA fighter, I have my stance, and he throws that hook, what I anticipate is going to be a hook, and I resort to this triangle block. Little did I know that it actually is a blade. You have to understand, this happens all the time to people. They always assume it's unarmed combat. And they don't realize, because maybe the environment's too dark or there's so much emotions and adrenaline and fear and chaos happening, that you don't fixate on those hands and you don't see what's coming your way. And even if it was, you actually identify it as a knife, what are you going to do? You have no knife defense system. And that knife is going to go right through into your ear canal. This is just one of the glaring examples of vulnerabilities when using mixed martial art techniques in the street. Hey, we're about to get back into the video, but let me ask you something. Do you want to legitimately accelerate your self-defense skills? And are you sick of clickbait videos teaching absolute garbage? Or tired of being misled by unqualified wannabe experts who have zero credibility or experience? If the answer is yes, now is the time to join my War Machine memberships. As a member, you're going to get exclusive access to in-depth training videos, exclusive full-feature video content, downloadable training PDFs, and direct insights you're not going to find anywhere else. Plus, you're going to have direct access to me in the comments section of all my videos. So if you have questions, you're going to get real, detailed answers from me and not some random keyboard warrior. So if you're serious about mastering real-world combat skills, hit the join button below and start training like a true war machine. Now, let's get back to the lesson. And now, saving the absolute worst for last. Number 1, the single most widely taught, most aggressively marketed, and most blindly trusted knife defense on the planet. trusted by hundreds of thousands of students and guaranteed to turn you into a human shish kebab. Drum roll, please. Yes, the world-famous Krav Maga arm wrap knife defense. The one where you control a knife attack by wrapping your arm around his attacking limb, all while politely volunteering your spine and kidneys for a stabbing frenzy. And the truly infuriating part, instructors who teach this nonsense will look you dead in the eye and claim that even if the attacker drives the blade deep into your lower back, it'll just require a few stitches. Just a few stitches. Let me be brutally clear. These clowns are either dangerously incompetent or flat out lying to protect their curriculum. Here are the facts. A single committed thrust in that exposed position can slice through spinal nerves controlling everything below your waist, triggering immediate total paralysis. One moment you're standing and fighting, the next your legs go dead. They buckle instantly, collapsing you helplessly to the ground. No warning, no delay, just sudden, irreversible paralysis. Real victims have hit the ground, paralyzed from the waist down the instant the blade severs those nerves. And don't forget to add lacerated kidneys or torn vessels that bleed you out in minutes. And the people who say just stitches, it isn't ignorance. It's reckless, life-endangering bullshit from incompetent numbskulls. They're gambling with your ability to ever walk again and calling it realistic self-defense. The argument goes like this. It's hard to control the knife hand unless you control the body. So their brilliant idea is to grab the attacker's torso, shoulder, or arm in some kind of wrestling clinch. Here's the reality check. When you control the body but ignore the weapon hand, the blade is still alive. It's still moving. I repeat, it is still moving. It can still puncture your kidneys, your ribs, your spine, or the side of your neck before you even realize it's happening. In real combat, controlling the body while leaving the blade free is simple suicide. That knife is the problem. It has to be controlled immediately, or you're going to get carved up into pieces. That's a wrap for 2025. This year, I didn't chase viral trends, kiss ass in internet-style debates, or play nice in the sycophantic martial arts sandbox. I exposed martial arts failure, raw, repeated, globally peddled self-defense failure. Every single technique in this video is still being sold as life-saving self-defense to trusting people. Every one manufactures dangerous false confidence, and each one hammers home the uncomfortable truth most instructors won't touch. The vast majority of what passes for self-defense has zero to do with surviving real violence. I've called this garbage out without apology, relentlessly, and yeah, it's made me enemies. Good, I couldn't care less. This channel has one mission: deliver real-world self-defense. My only loyalty is to the truth and to my subscribers who actually want to survive in the real world. But this isn't just about torching frauds and debunking bullshit martial arts systems. All year, I've laid out what actually works. My contemporary fighting arts system, battle-hardened principles, common sense brutality, and razor-sharp judgment engineered for street chaos, not belt-chasing rituals or dojo theater. On behalf of Sammy Franco TV, I want to wish you and yours a very happy and safe new year. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you guys at the next video.